Taika Waititi. We need to talk about Taika. This isn't one specific story so much as just Taika Waititi as a whole, and my view and possibly Nick's view of him over the past few years, the direction he's been going, and now that Thor Love and Thunder is out. Also a little bit about the MCU. Thor Love and Thunder just came out. I haven't heard anybody really saying it's great, but I've heard a lot of people say it's very disappointing. What did you think of Thor Love and Thunder?
It's a movie I was highly anticipating because Taika Waititi was coming, directing and coming back for it. And then I saw the movie, and then I just felt sad. I'm not gonna lie, one of the worst movies I've seen this year. Damn. One of the worst MCU movies. I think this is worse than Thor: The Dark World.
Really?
Maybe if I see it a couple more times. Yeah, I think this is because it's so. There's so many problems with it when it comes to storytelling and pace and characterizations and just stuff that doesn't make any sense. As bad as Thor: The Dark World is, this movie just feels like an incomplete film. It's not good. Not good at all. Well,
that's what I was gathering from people, that most of the consensus I've seen about it, everybody's just kind of disappointed. It's a try-hard for Thor Ragnarok, and it's just not what they were expecting. They were wanting more, and it's just filler. I hear filler a lot. I kind of feel like that's a lot of Phase 4. Like, much of Phase 4 is just kind of filler at this point. And I that's disappointing because I used to love the MCU. I thought it was, they did a great job with everything they were doing. And Ragnarok was one of my favorite ones. I know some people don't like it, but a lot of people do. And I really enjoyed Ragnarok. I like the new, fresh take and the direction they went with it. But ever since Endgame, nothing has really wowed me. Spider-Man did a little bit.
Yeah,
I've heard
No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home is not as amazing on a repeat viewing, and especially like at home outside of the theater experience, which a lot of movies are like that. That's fine, but I'll give Spider-Man that one. But beyond that one, nothing's really blown me away.
I think honestly, Ms. Marvel and Shang-Chi have been the best of the properties.
Thor Love and Thunder came out this past weekend. Of course, I don't think anybody's really surprised that it was like the biggest movie of the year, or so far of the year, or at least it was a big, huge success financially on the surface. It made $143 million domestically. That's a lot of money. And $302 million worldwide. Now, they are saying a lot of that came from Thursday early screenings. $302 million sounds like a lot of money. And it is a lot of money. It doesn't sound. It's more money than I got. It's a whole lot of money. But the movie cost over $250 million to make. So what they typically say, and what everybody's saying, is that in order for a movie to even begin to turn a profit, it has to double its budget. So $250 million, it's got to make $500 million before it even starts to think about making a profit. Because you got all the, advertising and just other stuff on top of it. So this movie, yay, it made $302 million. It still got $200 million to go before it even begins to think about making any kind of profit. So some people are saying that this is a failure. And also, apparently, I don't have it in front of me, but the movie kind of fell off a lot after Thursday, Friday. I'm seeing this a lot with the Marvel movies. I'm not sitting here saying, this is the decline of Marvel. They're going to be gone next year. No, Marvel's going to be around for a while, or the MCU's going to be around for a while. But do you think that this is kind of like the beginning of the big decline, where they're not going to be the big, huge mega force they have been? And also, do you think they can or will pull themselves out of that?
Well, if they keep producing 85 products a year, I'm already getting tired of seeing a lot of this stuff. I think the problem is Disney knows how much of a cash cow Marvel is. They're like, we need like 18 projects a year. We need it all on Disney Plus or a couple in the theaters. And I think just when it comes down to Thor, it felt like a movie that didn't need to happen. What do? Like, you don't want to say goodbye to the MCU, but maybe they need to scale back. This is turning a Call of Duty Assassin's Creed problem, where they released a game a year and it became so stale and repetitive. Like, what the fuck, Like
I said, I don't think that the MCU is going away anytime soon. It's like this phase has just seemed like they're just throwing shit at they're throwing whatever at the wall and just seeing what sticks. It's quantity over quality. I remember, like, back in the previous phases, there was always stuff that was, higher and lower on the scale, but overall, I would always say, when I was like comparing DC and Marvel, I would say if you go see a Marvel movie, you may not get like an amazing The Dark Knight experience, but you're going to get a solid experience. You're going to get an experience that you're going to have a good time with. It's reliable, but I don't feel like it's as reliable anymore. When I walk into a Marvel movie now, It used to be, okay, worst case scenario, I'm going to have a good time. Now I'm like, I don't know if I am or not. I might get, not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel or Black Widow. I can rattle off quite a bit of movies in the MCU now that aren't really that good. And a lot of them, most of them are in Phase 4. Phase 4, including the TV shows. The TV shows have this problem that I've seen, and I think you've even mentioned this, that they're starting out strong, and then they're somewhere in there just getting all muddled and messed up and just like tanking. They're just going off the deep end or something and just ending very lackluster. In MCU overall, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. We're not the first ones to say it for sure, and we won't be the last. Moving on from there, with Taika Waititi in particular, because he's the most recent Marvel director, this guy's lost his fucking mind. I really liked him early on in his career before he was involved with the MCU, and no, not just because he became involved with the MCU. I don't necessarily think that made him bad, and that's because I've gone on record saying the MCU has been disappointing me quite a bit for the past few years. So I'm not being a hater and saying, well, since he's on there now, I dislike him. No, I really enjoyed his work, and even after the MCU was like Jojo Rabbit, I thought Jojo Rabbit was amazing. I thought Thor Ragnarok was amazing. I feel like Taika Waititi, and it's been based on things he's been saying, has gotten a little bit full of himself. He's been drinking the Kool-Aid, and now I feel like he's got a decline, an imminent decline. He's still very talented, I think, but I feel like he's getting way too full of himself, and he's going to have a hard fall. I was thinking this, and then all these stories come out this week of just kind of the bolsterous kind of on his high horse attitude he has on things. Like, he was talking about director's cuts this week, and apparently his initial cut of Thor Love and Thunder was like 4.5 hours long or something like that. And I never expect a 4.5 hour director's cut. I mean, Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I don't expect him to release that. But he just came out and he's like talking about, I mean, he was quoted in saying, director's cuts suck. I watch director's cuts a lot of the time from other directors, and they suck. They're just not good. I disagree with that, and as a fan of things, I like to see a property that I really enjoy seeing something extra from it, and you're just gonna like put that kind of really bold comment out there. I mean, if you don't want to do a director's cut of your movie, I don't give a fuck. That's fine. But how are you going to go and just kind of shit on everybody else that a lot of people do like director's cuts or extended editions and all that? Do they have to go to the level of Zack Snyder's Justice League? No, most of them don't. There's plenty of movies out there that I think the director's cut was just a better cut overall, even though I understand why the theater version was cut down to what it was. And to add on to this, something you told me a few minutes ago, is that apparently, while he's saying this, I'm hearing that he was mandated by Marvel, or at least told by Marvel, you need to get it in under 2 hours. That's why it was right at that 2 hour mark. For him to be saying that when he's being mandated to cut this shit short, I just find that kind of shitty. I don't like it.
Taika is one of those individuals, a lot of times you don't know if he's joking or not. To be fairly honest, you don't know if he's telling the truth. You don't know if he's lying. So a lot of this may be just in comedic jest. Maybe it's just who he is. Okay, fine. You don't like the director's cut, but if you really don't like him, I mean, some of the best rehashing of films that have been put out are like the director's cut, Lord of the Rings, or Blade Runner, and some other things. Kingdom of Heaven,
Aliens.
So, I don't know. Aliens, yeah, Aliens as well. I think before he hit the MCU, he had some of the best comedies going with like What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People and Boy. I thought was really good.
Yeah,
he did something else that was really good.
I agree with you that I think that like sometimes what he does say is a joke, and you can you could tell, but like this particular and some of these other comments, he just doubles down on it. It's like, okay, I could see if he just said that and was like, ha ha ha. But no, he like this director thing. He went on and kept on. I didn't like quote everything. He just kept on. And like you said, your opinion's your opinion. That's fine if you want to say that. But there's just contradicting things. Plus, that's like shitting on other people's work. That would be like me coming on and publicly shitting on another YouTuber's content. I just find that as kind of not. That's not cool. That's not good etiquette.
Yeah.
And I mean, also you have a lot of people out there, like you said, and like I said, that enjoy those extended cuts of films that they already like. So I just found that kind of bolsterous, and I didn't care for it. Another thing that was kind of bolsterous of him, he was talking about Kate Bush and Stranger Things, which those of you that have seen Stranger Things will know that the Kate Bush song that's really blown up. It's really blown up here recently because of its predominant use in that show. And
Yeah.
he was asked about it because I guess he mentioned it. I'm not really sure. But his comments were, "You mean how they ruined it?" And now that part, or how they ruined Kate Bush. And I at first I'm like, okay, yeah, he's probably, there's a little bit in jest there. He's probably joking around, but he also went on to say that he loves that show, but as someone who feels a real ownership of Kate Bush music, I'm really annoyed, he said. I've become one of those old assholes who's like, these kids never listen to Kate Bush. They've heard one song on a TV show. They don't know Kate Bush. I know Kate Bush. And then it comes out right after that, oh, he was wanting to use that song or Kate Bush music in Thor Love and Thunder, but the Duffer Brothers with Stranger Things got to it first, so he either decided or was told that, no, not a good idea because it was just used there. So it just sounds like he's salty. It sounds like he's just kind of like, oh, you stole my song I wanted to use, and da-da-da-da. I mean, first of all, nobody said you couldn't use the fucking song, but I mean, I get why you wouldn't use it, because it was used just recent, like literally a week earlier in this other big property that everybody's watching. To come out and sit there and trash talk somebody else's property, even though you turn around and say, oh, I love that show, but they suck for doing this and all that. And it did, at first, like I said, it came across as in jest, but then it kind of started to skew on the just spoiled brat kind of thing. And it's not this comment or the one I'm going to talk about in a minute, which is more funny, and the last comment alone. It's more all the comments together are just kind of feeding into this whole thing where I feel like he's on the Taika Waititi, high. Like he's starting to think that he's this big thing like everybody's saying he is. I don't like it. It gives me kind of a feeling about the guy, and I really enjoyed his work before, and I really liked him, and now I'm kind of, I don't like the direction it looks like he's going, and usually when directors get that big and bolsterous, we have a really big fall coming soon after.
Sometimes these guys get their heads up their ass, Look at what James Gunn said, 15 years ago. Sometimes you say stuff that you will ultimately regret, and maybe Taika Waititi is just at a point where he don't give a shit. I'll be absolutely honest with you. That would not have worked in Thor Ragnarok, the Running Up the Hill song from Kate Bush.
To be fair, he may have been. It didn't specifically say it was that song. He may have been wanting to use another song. I don't know. It may have just been Kate Bush's music overall.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure from what I read if it was that song or if it was just Kate Bush in general. Which at that point I'm like, why? If it's not that song, I get why you wouldn't use that song because it was literally just used. But I mean, just use another one. But I mean, that's what led me to believe that it was maybe that song. I don't know.
Like I said, if Thor may have been better, maybe I can get on the train with some of this stuff. But
the last little thing about Taika, I thought this was funny, but at the same time, it's almost like how do you miss this? Natalie Portman's in his latest film, and he was talking to her, and she said, "Hey, what are you doing next?" Yeah. And he said, "I'm going to be working on this new Star Wars thing." And then he asks her, "Have you ever wanted to be in a Star Wars movie?" What? Are you seriously?
That I feel like is a joke. I think he there's no way he doesn't know the prequels. Like, that would almost be like you're living under a rock. A guy who's one of the biggest directors in Hollywood is going, "Wait, you were in a Star Wars? Are you actually trolling us right now?" It doesn't make any sense. But if he didn't know that, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, and he did say, like, because she's turned to him apparently and was like, I've been in Star Wars movies. And apparently that's when he had the real, oh shit. He had that oh shit moment of, oh, that's right. You were Princess Amidala. Like, he explains it that, like, he wasn't joking when he said it. He did genuinely forget that she was in it. He did not know. He just forgot. I just don't know how you fucking forget that. I mean, when you're talking to the person. I'm sitting here talking to Natalie Portman, and I'm like, hey, what do you want? I'm working on a Star Wars thing. I would just put two and two together. And maybe it was just a moment. We all have dumbass moments. I get it. And this one was publicized. Well, like I said, this was more I just thought was kind of funny. Like, if this was the only story, I wouldn't even be talking about it. But it's just like all the other stuff. I just lumped this in there because I thought that was fun. How did you forget?
Yeah.
Fucking Star Wars, dude. What the fuck? But just overall, and this could just be a fucking moot point. At this, like I said, this isn't so much a story. This is just kind of my thoughts, and I just feel like Taika's headed down a road that I'm not happy to see because I really do think he's made some fantastic work in the past. But it seems like maybe that could possibly be coming to an end, and maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs to have a big failure, like that just rock bottom failure so he can come back up and, Phoenix from the ashes rise again. I don't know, but something needs to happen because the guy's he's just the past couple of years, he just seems like he's drinking the Waititi Kool-Aid.